Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here. We've got some more Kanto Cup battles for you guys today. In today's video, we are taking a look at my girlfriend PiplupDetective's battles and the team that she used to hit rank 10 for the very first time in Season 5. And this team does feature a LAPRAS lead, and honestly, it worked out really well for her. And surprisingly enough, I would say probably the weak link of the team ended up being the Shadow Victory Bell of all things. So without further ado, let's take a look at these battles. We're hopping into the first game against Mata Giratines. That is an interesting name for sure, and picked up a pretty decent lead here against Clefable. So in this matchup, she is going to be wanting to go straight Surf. She does build up a little extra and goes for the Surf. And this will be doing some nice chunk damage, although it does get the shield, surprisingly enough. Building up a little bit of extra energy, and she is doing this intentionally to not let her opponent know how much energy she has. So she's able to burn both shields and throw the Surf. They were not aware that she was going to be able to get to that third Surf because she was constantly over farming. And as you can see, it is a simul feint, but she is up 2 shields, so she's in a great position. And they bring in a Hypno early. If you're in the opponent's shoe, you do not want to bring in your opponent basically until the clock hits 0, because otherwise your opponent can see what you brought in, and I mean, they're just going to bring in a counter to it. So try to avoid that in the future. She's going to be shielding up. And it is a Shadow Ball, and she should just be able to snarl down from here. Yep, and we'll see what's in the back. Oh no, poor Marowak. Yep, and they're going to resign. So really good game there. And as you can see, LAPRAS ended up taking both shields to start, which allowed Muck to sweep and close out the game. Hopping into the second game, catches a Haunter lead. This is a pretty decent lead, mainly just because LAPRAS has an insane amount of bulk, so it can tank a lot of Haunter's charge moves. She does shield up the Sludge Bomb though, because Haunter is very attack weighted, building up to back-to-back Surfs. Unfortunately, looks like loses CMP there, lets it go. It's just a Shadow Punch. And the first Surf is going to be coming through. Alright, first one came through, and second one, perfect. And so she is able to build those back-to-back and win switch. And as you can see, LAPRAS with the bulk is winning quite a lot of lead matchups and pressuring a lot of shields. A Dragon Claw Mew. The good news is she has Alolan Muck. Alolan Muck is so strong in this current meta. It has so much play against Mew, Hypno, Alolan Marowak, all three of which are exceedingly common in the meta at the moment. And Muck's going to be going for the Dark Pulse. Of course, that is going to get the shield. Use throwing, and at this point, we're not quite sure. Decides to let it go, and it's just the Dragon Claw. So really, really nice call there. That way she can save the shield, and this Dark Pulse is going to be taking out the Mew. We'll see what's in back. A Snorlax. And gets to the Dark Pulse, because she was a little worried she wasn't going to be able to get to the Sludge Bomb. Dark Pulse. And they actually throw, so this is perfect. She's going to let this go, and now that they've burned their energy, she'll be able to come in with the Victory Bell, and that's going to finish off the Snorlax. So good game there. She is able to take game number 2. And hopping to the third game against A20321, LAPRAS leading into a Blastoise. And unfortunately, since she's running the Ice Beam variant and not the Skull Bash variant, this is not a great matchup. Although it'll depend what moveset the Blastoise has. It appears the Blastoise might be running Hydro Cannon and Ice Beam. Otherwise, they would just go for the Skull Bash. So this is more of a neutral matchup since neither Pokemon does have Skull Bash. So that ends up working out. And in this situation, you do want to go for Surfs. She's going to be throwing a couple Surfs here. Blastoise is building up quite a bit of energy, and they swap out into Raichu. And she swaps out into the Victory Bell. Catches the Thunder Punch, so it's resisted, which is great. And she's going to be shielding this up in case it's a Wild Charge. Oh, just a Thunder Punch, but she'll just be able to Razor Leaf down. And she's down a shield, and Magneton comes out. And so Magneton, this is an interesting matchup, because Magneton does resist the grass moves, of course, but with Thunder Shock is doing resisted damage themselves. So they are going to have to throw to take out the Victory Bell. Alright, she's waiting her time and coming in with the Muck, which is the correct call. Muck does have a pretty decent matchup against Magneton. It's going to let the discharge go. For the future, if you're the Magneton user, you do want to use Magnet Bomb in that situation. Magnet Bomb does more in neutral matchups, and she does overfarm on the Muck. Going for a Dark Pulse, does get the shield, swaps out into the Lapras. to catch the energy from Blastoise. Hydro Cannon comes off, and then she's going to be able to snarl down, and then have a Dark Pulse for the Magneton. So even though Lapras had a bunch of loaded energy, basically ended up using the Lapras as a third shield more or less, and she's able to take the game. So really well played there. And we're hopping to the next game against, looks like Azu and the Mirror. Oh no. The good news is this is not as bad as the Bronzor Mirror. The bad news is it's not much better, I'll be honest. A lot of resisted damage, although they're going for an Ice Beam. In the future, if you're in this match, if you want to go for Surf, Surf is definitely going to be the way to go in this matchup, and she gets a shield, so honestly, this is going pretty well. Going for another Surf. That one does land, and is able to get to another Surf. As you can see, Ice Shard does generate energy pretty quickly, which is super helpful, and she's able to sneak an Ice Shard through, which is huge. Another Ice Beam comes through there, and this does appear to be a Water Gun Lapras, which does charge slower than the Ice Shard variant from what I'm seeing here. And again, able to sneak through these Ice Shards, and that's making a huge difference. Now they finally start going for Surf, but it's a bit too late. As you can see, she is winning that health battle merely just because she is going for Surf instead of Ice Beam. Alright, and they bring out a Hypno, and she's able to get to the Surf with almost no HP left, which is fantastic. And that does a nice chunk of damage to Hypno, and now she'll be able to bring in the Muck, which has a fantastic matchup against Hypno. All you have to do is just watch for a potential Focus Blast. It's just a Thunder Punch, and we're fine. And is able to get to the Dark Pulse here. And they're going to need a shield that's going to take them out. Yep, it does take them out, and now it's Muck versus Muck, and they decide to leave the match. So, really good game there. Hopping to the next game against Bad News for All, okay? So, well, I mean, after this match, it's bad news for them, not her. So, leading a Snorlax into Lapras. So this is a pretty solid matchup. Basically, all you have to do is just watch for superpowers that would do quite a bit of damage. First one comes through, that's just the Body Slam, and she does decide to go for Ice Beam. And Ice Beam is going to be doing more damage than Surf. I believe Surf may be slightly more efficient, but she went for the bigger damage move first. Charge move coming through from the Snorlax. Another Body Slam. She's able to survive that and get to the Surf. And this Surf is going to be taking out the Snorlax unless they decide to shield. And they decide to let that go. So she's able to take Switch. Marowak comes out. Unfortunately, just cannot get to the Surf, so really nice play there, but unfortunately, she has a great answer for Marowak with this Muck, because Muck can safely tank the Shadow Bone since it's resisted, and will now be able to spam out those Dark Pulses, which will be hitting for super effective damage. Dark Pulse does get the shield, and she's going to be shielding this up. As another Shadow Bone comes through, able to get to Dark Pulse, and here she's not wanting to overfarm by too much, just to make sure she can get the kill, because her Victory Bell does not want to see this thing. And she's able to get to the Dark Pulse, which is fantastic. Snarl charges so quickly, and this is going to be taking out the Marowak. And it's a Mew in back, oh no. Able to get to the Dark Pulse, this is going to be doing so much damage to an unshielded Mew. Wow, and then one Snarl takes it out, so another good game, oh my goodness. As you can see, the core of Lapras and Alolan Muck do work really, really well together. As you can see, that is a really nice 5-0 there. So, doing great. Hopping into the next match, Lapras into Vaporeon. And so this should be a pretty decent matchup for Lapras. Both sides are doing resisted damage, but with Lapras' tremendous bulk, it should just end up outpacing the Vaporeon. Charge move coming through from the Vaporeon. He's going to let this go, and it's just an Aqua Tail. So it looks like either they were baiting or they may not have Last Resort. Either way, it works because Lapras is incredibly tanky. And as you can see the health disparity, they swap into a Hypno, and she's going to come into her Muck. So really good job with a relatively fast switch there, and she is able to beat them to a charge move with a Dark Pulse, and it does get a shield from the Hypno. Hypno builds up a decent amount of energy, so she is going to match shields, and it's just a punch. So nice bait there, and this should just be, this can't be a Focus Blast. Yep, that's just another Thunder Punch. So good no shield on the second one there, recognizing that that couldn't be the Focus Blast, and Dark Pulse gets the second shield. So this works out pretty well, and Muck unfortunately doesn't quite get to the charge move, but she'll be able to shield up the Thunder Punch and then get to the Dark Pulse, and this is going to be taking out the Muck. This is fantastic because now she's guaranteed to keep switch advantage. Vaporeon comes in and throws their energy right away. This is perfect because she didn't have any energy, so she's 100% okay with letting that go. Victory Bell is going to farm down, and what's in back but a Muck. Muck does get to a charge move. It should be the Dark Pulse. Yep, and Dark Pulse does a lot. Oh, just can't get to the charge move there, which is super unfortunate. Able to get to the Ice Beam, but loses CMP. Will it survive the Dark Pulse? Barely. Oh my goodness. So because of her IV, she's able to survive it, and oh wow. On 1 HP and a dream is able to take the match. Lapras's bulk is truly incredible in shields down situations. Hopping into the next match, Lapras into a Marowak. This is a pretty decent matchup because those Surfs are going to be hitting for super effective damage, and the best charge move that Marowak can throw is just going to be hitting for neutral. Surf does get a shield right off the bat, and Marowak's going for a charge move. She's going to let this go. And it is the Shadow Ball, which does quite a bit of damage. Unfortunately, yeah, she was thinking that it may have been a Shadow Bone or a Bone Club. Unfortunately, it was not. Marowak's going to throw here, and she's going to let this go because she doesn't think that she can get to another charge move. And she's going to be coming in with the Muck in an attempt to farm down. Unfortunately, can't quite farm down, which is frustrating. Shields up the Bone Club that would be hitting for super effective, and we'll see what they have in the back. They come in with a Charizard, so that's an interesting choice for sure. And she's going to be baiting here with the Dark Pulse. Gets the shield, which is fantastic. And charge move coming through. She is going to be shielding that up. It's just a Dragon Claw. And overfarms a little bit and goes for the Sludge Bomb. And this is, oh, my apologies, the Sludge Wave. And that's going to be taking them out. And it's a Blastoise in back. Hops into the Victory Bell. And Victory Bell is able to farm all the way down. So really good game there. And she is able to take that. So that's, I believe, 8 in a row for her. Hopping into the next game. Lapras into a Wigglytuff. So this is more of a neutral matchup. As with the other Charmer at the start of the video, the play is just to go straight Surf. Straight Surf is going to be the most efficient route and can hopefully pressure some shields along the way. And gets to a second Surf. This Charm charges energy so slowly, and that does get a shield from the Wigglytuff. They swap out into Ivysaur, and she counters with a Victory Bell. So Victory Bell is a decent response to the Ivysaur because they are both doing resisted damage. She is able to shield up the Sludge Bomb, and she's able to get to a Leaf Blade, and actually gets the shield. So good on her for throwing there because the opponent probably should not have shielded that. And she's going to be shielding up the Sludge Bomb again and attempting to farm down. Oh, actually, it looks like decides to go to the charge move, so may have thought that they were going to get to another Sludge Bomb. And that Leaf Blade is going to be taking out the Venusaur. Wigglytuff comes out and gets Razor Leaf down, and we'll see what's in back. Graveler. So Graveler comes out. Unfortunately, she is able to get to a Leaf Blade, and that Leaf Blade is going to be taking out the Graveler. So good game there. As you can see, Victory Bell finally pulling its weight here in the end. Victory Bell is able to take out the final Pokemon to win the game. All right, hopping into the next match, Lapras into a Pidgeot. And so this is a really solid lead here, as those Ice Shards are doing super effective, and she's going to be able to spam out neutral Surfs. And Surf does not get the shield. They hop in with a Shadow Victory Bell, and she's going to counter with Muck. And she's going to be shielding up the Leaf Blade here, and there are arguments to be made for going into Victory Bell to match up there, but it's a split-second decision, so whatever works, works. Either way. So keeping switch advantage is going to be important here because she does not want the Victory Bell, well, her Victory Bell lined up against the Pidgeot. We'll see if she can get to the charge move. Unfortunately, cannot. So this did not end up working out the way she was hoping. Unfortunately, she is going to let this go. It's just a resisted leaf blade, and she'll be able to farm down. And Pidgeot comes out with a lot of energy and aggression, so she's going to be shielding up the aerial ace and swapping into Lapras. They swap into a Marowak. So she is going to be throwing the Surf. That does super effective damage. Unfortunately, they are able to farm her down, and this is going to be taking out the Victory Bell. So really well played to the opponent there, realizing that they could flip switch advantage if they two shielded the Victory Bell. So really well done. Hopping into the next match, Lapras into Marowak. Again, this is a lead that you do like to see with this team because Lapras is very tanky and is going to be able to hit for super effective with those Surfs. First Surf coming through gets a shield. And this time she has learned she is shielding that up, and it's the Shadow Bone. So unfortunately not a Shadow Ball this time, but hey, you know what? Still able to match. And this seems a little quick, but it is another Shadow Bone. Boy, Shadow Bone does charge rather quickly in comparison to Shadow Ball. It's going to go for another Surf, gets the second shield. And is able to get to the Surf, which is fantastic. And this Surf will be doing quite a bit of damage. Unfortunately, will not be able to take it out. But she hops in with the Muck, and Muck is going to have to soak a charge move. The good news is Muck is quite tanky, so it's able to do so, and we'll see what's in back. A Hypno comes out. Oh no. If they brought out Hypno, their whole back line might be weak to this Muck. Oh no. She's going to be shielding up the Thunder Punch. Seems like every Hypno is running Thunder Punch at this point, and she is able to farm down. What's in back? A Sand Slash. So I feel the Sand Slash was probably the better thing to bring out, but you know what? Whatever works. But she's able to go for the back-to-back Dark Pulses, and that is going to be taking out the Sand Slash and giving her the game. As you can see, this was part of a 9-1 run that she had en route to rank 10. This team has been performing very, very well for her. And as you can see, the Lapras lead does a really good job of kind of setting the stage for the back line with either losing the lead but still being able to take shields, or winning the lead and really being able to set up the back line for success. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're new and you enjoyed the content, definitely feel free to subscribe. It's free and helps out the channel. And I will see you guys in the next one.